Good afternoon, seawolves. After what I think for many of you, and me included, has been a pretty intense and nerve-wracking night, I hope you have still brought something to calm the nerves a bit now that all this stuff is over. So I think now that the worst of that is behind us and Kevin Escoffier is safely on board with Jean Le Cam, it's time to talk about what the hell happened and dig into this a little bit. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I really needed that after all this. So what happened yesterday to PRB and Kevin Escoffier? The story, as far as I can suss it all out from all the different French-speaking sources, in all of the detail that we know right now, is as follows. So around the time just before I went live yesterday in the show, there was a sudden activation of the PRB of Kevin Escoffier, but activated in a certain mode, which is the highest priority mode. And he followed that right away with a radio call to the surrounding skippers saying, "I'm sinking, this is not a joke, this is not a drill, I need assistance immediately." As we know from the team leader of PRB, who gave a press conference just about an hour ago as of taping this, the story so far is that whatever exactly happened to the boat, it was absolutely a catastrophic disaster. The way that the French manager of the team described it is that the boat more or less broke in two, and the bow was at a 90-degree angle into the water, with massive water entering the boat. So we don't actually know if he hit something or what happened, but it was a massive problem. And as to the story, Kevin barely had time enough to put on his neoprene foul weather, like full body suit, grab the life raft, and had to literally jump overboard, thus then inflating the life raft. That's one of those suitcases. I have one myself on the boat that as soon as you put it in water, it inflates automatically. He climbed on board, and from that moment on, of course, he had the EPIRB, so a locating beacon, and the race control immediately contacted Jean Le Cam, who was about 20 miles behind PRB at that moment. He, of course, altered course to go to the location of the PRB. And initially, kind of right away, stumbled upon Kevin in the life raft. But of course, all of the sailors are single-handed driving in a Mokka. Not the easiest boat to, maneuver. And it's important to say that all of this happened at the cusp of nightfall in 35 knots with 4 to 5 meter waves. So this was a trifecta of the worst kind of scenarios all rolled into one. As said, Jean Le Cam luckily stumbled on the life raft right away, still in daylight conditions, and at that point signaled to him that he would take the sails down, activate the engine, and come back. However, this took, of course, a time, and as I understand it, Jean's engine did not immediately work. So when he got back to the location where he previously had found Kevin in his life raft, he didn't find anything. And then, as night fell, he made 5 passes through this area, but unfortunately did not spot Kevin. Now, at that point, they enlisted the help of Maître Koch, and a little bit after that also Boris Hermann, because they were both still sailing behind this twosome, so they were closest by at the moment. They also diverted course, and they made what is, I guess, best described as a bit of a search grid. So they were kind of steering lines through this area, certain amount of distance apart to cover kind of two areas, area A and area B, where Kevin had been previously and where they expected Kevin may have drifted off to. And on the fifth pass of Jean Le Cam, which was fortunately a very slow pass, in the dark, he couldn't really see him, but at some point he saw some light in the water, obviously the little blink light on top of Kevin's raft. Spotted that. Fortunately, he was moving very, very slowly at that point, and the sea state had come down a little bit. And as soon as he confirmed that it was Kevin, Kevin asked Jean from the life raft, I don't know, by the way, how they communicated, whether they were shouting or on the radio. I assume it was the radio at this point, but no confirmation on that. Kevin asked Jean if he was going to come back again later, because the weather was really bad. And in those type of situations, it's very, very hard to get somebody from a life raft onto a boat, because this is not an easy maneuver in big waves, and a boat can, you know, crush a life raft like that. The forces of the pounding and stuff are, you know, very formidable. But Jean, I guess, you know, saw an opportunity, so he threw, this is a specially designed kind of hook line to Kevin, which Kevin caught on the first attempt. So Jean Le Cam and Kevin, both of you, you know, awesome superheroes, and managed to hook that to the life raft. However, with the speed that Jean had and the agitated, confused sea state, this resulted in the life raft kind of being dragged along, and they didn't know exactly what happened, but right now they think that the life raft probably flipped over or you know, developed some kind of problem while being dragged, and they didn't quite manage to get the rescue line over. And the team manager said that, you know, at some point, I guess Kevin's, you know, survival, you know, fight or flight instinct just kind of kicked in, and he grabbed the line and just, you know, climbed himself through the water towards the boat, and of course with the help of Jean, hoisted himself on board, which then of course completed the rescue. So that is the truly amazing story as far as we know right now. So this is all tentative. I'm not saying that this is exactly how it happened, but that's the latest details as far as I can find them right now. So the most important thing, I guess, is that they are both on board. You know, I saw them both smiling, and of course Kevin, though, you know, quite emotional about, you know, everything that happened, and you know, the total loss, I guess, of his ship PRB. But fortunate that both men are safely on board, and I guess on their way to Cape Town now. So good news, right? And kudos, I guess, from all of us for Jean for this amazing, and to Boris, of course, and to Maître Coq for you know, making this amazing rescue attempt. And so many of you have been also sending me emails throughout the night, you know, for updates, and also what the rules are, because you know, many of you were already fans of Jean, and even though of course we're very happy that they managed to rescue Kevin, many people are also wondering, like, what happens now? Do they all quit the race? You know, what happens? Basically, the rules state that the rescuing sailor now has to drop off Kevin at the earliest convenience, so at the earliest possible marina, or, you know, this is obviously assigned by the race control, so that'll be Cape Town, the same marina that Alex Thompson is heading to. And at that point, the rescued sailor can exit the boat, while Jean has to remain on the boat, because he is still expected to, you know, complete the race without any assistance. And so in order to secure that, he can take at that point extra food and water on board, because obviously he had to divert himself and, you know, invest time in this rescue mission, but he won't be allowed to go off board himself, or, you know, talk to anybody or anything like that beyond the hey, hello, you know, the natural non-race related stuff, let's say. As soon as he's taken food and water on board, he has to continue his race, and he will get a time allowance. So basically, whatever point he was at the moment that the race control asked him to divert his course to start the rescue, basically all the time that he spent doing that will be at the end of the race, I guess, deducted from his overall time, and whatever his ranking is at that point will be adjusted for that. So more or less according to the rules, it will be kind of as if this rescue didn't happen. So they just cut the extra time from his total race, and then in the end that will be corrected. So that's more or less how this type of situation is solved, and what happened last night. Now, when we take a look at the tracker, we can also actually see the tracks of how it all happened. So when we zoom in here, we can clearly see kind of the squiggly path that the gents took. Here, of course, it's time position, so not all the time, but when we look at the tracing map here, actually on the home page, we can really see kind of the grid that all the guys sailed. So we see here, of course, Jean Le Cam, Maître Kok, Yannick Besthaven, we have Boris Hermann on Sea Explorer Yacht Club de Monaco, and also, by the way, Arkea Paprike. So Sebastion Simon, sorry I forgot to mention him earlier, but he was also diverted when the other three gents didn't succeed yet at finding PRB's Kevin Escoffier. So yeah, and what has this all done to the rest of the field? Now obviously all of the gents except for Jean Le Cam will resume racing, so all of them will get this time allowance from the moment that they ceased racing and started the rescue till the moment that the rescue was officially completed, and when that call is given by the race control, then they will all resume racing, and the time between those two moments, quitting racing and starting racing again, that will be kind of deducted from their overall time over the race. That's more or less how it works. Now what we see happen in the meantime is that the storm that we talked about yesterday, which I predicted basically yesterday, that through this storm we're going to likely see a lot more damage to boats, because the location that they're in is UFO central, basically over there around South Africa, and at the same time very strong winds, very big waves. So this is a ideal coming together of everything that you don't really want when you're in a sailboat. Well, we've seen that of course both Apivia and also Linked Out are basically the only two boats that were able, that were basically ahead, of course, of Jean Le Cam and PRB. So they were able to keep sailing. Remember, that does not mean that they necessarily extended their lead, because the rest of the boats, will have their time deductions later. But Apivia clearly chose not to jibe up and actually stay the course, like I predicted yesterday. So he's actually doing very well. He seems to be through, well, he's maybe still in kind of some of the worst of the storm, but he's almost through, and Linked Out basically on the heels of this storm, and we can see how this will progress. So if we take the prediction, we see that this storm basically moves out, but that we see that the next storm is already on its way, and that's going to be moving basically along that same path. This is constantly going on in this. It's basically Antarctic storms that keep going up and blowing through the whole of Antarctica and the Cape there. And so more or less all of the boats are going to have to deal basically with this system also at some point. So even though most of them didn't encounter the back end of the storm, as I said they would yesterday, because of the whole PRB situation, that has essentially not changed too much, because the next storm is already coming in, and most likely they will all be facing similar situations that the leaders were facing yesterday, which is basically somewhere between 25 to 35 knots, and in a seaway that is maybe 3 to 5 meter waves, and very confused, as we've heard so much. So confused sea, which means that you have waves basically coming from multiple sides, which makes it very, very uncomfortable sail, which makes the boat the boat movement very unpredictable, which we still don't know how this happened with PRB, but it might have contributed in some way to whatever it is that that happened exactly. And yeah, the thing that I'm going to be looking for, you know, in the next 36 hours is basically the same that I mentioned yesterday, which is damage. So it's super sad to see what happened to PRB, but very likely we're going to see quite a bit more damage as the ladies and gentlemen sailors pass the Cape here, because it's just one of the toughest points of sail in the world. Both of these capes are famous for wrecking ships, and it's because the water at the capes get pushed between two. So you have Antarctica and you have the Cape. This also goes for Cape Horn, by the way. So you have two land masses, and then an entire ocean gets pushed through kind of a narrow entrance between two land masses. And then because of the geography, you have really intense weather systems there, because they're right on that latitude where quasi warmer air and the really cold air meet. So you have giant storms, basically, as you know, can see the big giant red spot, and they just keep moving through there. And the combination of all that just makes it really a horrible place to sail through. Beautiful in a way because it's so extreme and intense, but horrible as far as that it's just super tough on any boat wanting to get through there when one of these storms is on, which is basically every 2 or 3 days there will be 2 or 3 days of storm, and then 1, maybe 2 days of calmer weather, and then you have 2, 3, 4 days of storm again, and it always keeps going through this cycle for the most part.
Voilà, tranquille, tranquille. Tout qu'on peut faire. Voilà. Et là, bon, je reprendrai des images tout à l'heure, parce que là il va y avoir de la grêle, il va y avoir... mais bon, c'est assez beau quand même. Ça fait un peu peur. Et waouh! Ouais, ils m'ont fait faire. Ça c'est voilà. Et
so that's what I'm going to be looking for, and yeah, let's all hope that the rest of the fleet makes it through the Cape in the best way they can. That's basically all we can hope for. And yeah, again, let's all just rejoice that Kevin Escoffier is safe and on his way to Cape Town, and we'll see what happens in the next 48 hours. So that's it for the update today. Tomorrow I'm going to look a lot more at the Jules Verne. No real updates there, so the boat just you know, on their way past Brazil a little bit now, but no major updates or anything there. We'll talk a lot more about the Jules Verne actually tomorrow, look a bit more at all the different boats in there. So tomorrow will be a bit of a Jules Verne special, let's say, with of course also the info on what happens in the Vendee, and especially yeah, short for the sponsors and the backers. Amazing, by the way, to see that the merch is going really amazing. So looking forward to actually see a lot of people in Seawolf gear also soon. I'm waiting for mine, so I'll show some off here, of course, also soon. And do you guys like the new lighting? It's finally arrived. We have some, you know, good lighting now, and also another new microphone, because that first one was a total lemon. It was a good brand and everything, but I guess I just got a bad one. So I had to switch that and upgrade it again for another one, and I hope this one works excellent. So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go to the website seawolvestv.com for more info, and also for the shop with our amazing Sea Wolves t-shirts and mugs and all that other cool stuff. And I'll see you all tomorrow.